Good afternoon. It is December 27th. Whoops, sorry about that. It is December 27th, 2018, and we can't even call this a late start. This is just, I don't even know what to call it. It's an afternoon broadcast. That's what it is. So when I started out early this morning and I queued up the stories that I had from this morning, as well as something that I wanted to bring you from, I've been wanting to bring you from quite a while now, everything went sideways. So let's get to it. Our first story is from Fox San Antonio. Support tunnels under Trump's wall. GoFundMe campaign is trending. And they have raised $2,060 out of a $150 million goal from 94 donors in 2 days. The GoFundMe campaign set up in response to a viral one supporting President Trump's border wall with Mexico is trending on the fundraising website. The Support Tunnels Under Trump's Wall campaign has been shared more than 262,000 times on social media. The campaign, which has a goal of 150 million, seems to be a protest against one supporting Trump's border wall. The pro-border wall campaign has raised more than 16, well, no, it's way more than 16. It's more like 17 million of its 1 billion goal. And then, if that wasn't enough fun for us this morning, counter campaign, and this is CBS 2 KUTV reported on Friday, December 21st. Counter campaign to buy ladders created in response to border wall fundraiser. And here is the courses of concertina wire reinforcing the barrier in San Diego. Washington, WSMH earlier this week, so that would have been last week, a GoFundMe account was set up to help raise money to fund President Donald Trump's border wall. The fundraiser was started by Purple Heart Medal recipient Brian Colfage. Even $11 million has been raised so far, and that was last week. However, there's another one that has been created to counter this fundraiser called Ladders to Get Over Trump's Wall. Links in the show notes. As always, folks, we're just going to keep moving. So on Halieus Media, we created this wonderful chart and some images from various campaigns with President Trump's border wall fund by Brian Colfage featured in the middle. So there's the tunnel, there's the ladders, and what's down here? Well, let's find out. Wall funding tracking, posted on December 26, 2018 by Halieus Media. The following chart tracks Trump's wall funding from the site GoFundMe titled We the People Will Fund the Wall, started on December 17, 2018, as well as a number of frivolous counter-funding efforts. Some are semi-legit in that they pledge to donate any funds collected to various immigrant supporting causes. However, one was frankly an outright joke, with the campaign originator, Ashley C. Howell, saying she will keep the money. Alyssa Milano was one of two who donated $5 to that campaign as of earlier this morning, and now it has been taken down. So this Chutes and Ladders, this is what Alyssa Milano donated to, and this will be taken off our chart. So today, December 26, 2018, Halieus Media Wall Fund Tracking, and this was created at 11:12 a.m. And you see we have across the top the campaign title and recipients. We the People Wall Campaign, the ladders to get over Trump's wall, tunnels to get under Trump's wall, and then this one that will be coming off. So then number of days, today's date, number of days, total currently, goal, which is $1 billion, 100 million, 150 million, and $1 million. The daily total, so how far they have to go to get to their goal, I guess is the I should rename this data range. And then the daily average giving. So, you know, over $1 million a day, almost $2 million a day are going into the actual legit fund to build the wall created by Brian Kolfage. So, you know what? Keep it up, people. If you don't want drugs and human trafficking and illegal immigrants pouring through our borders, keep it up. The ladder to get over the wall, $25,000 a day. The fund to tunnel under, $516,000 a day are being donated. And then a whopping average $3.33 in 3 days for this one that's coming off this chart. As of this writing, there are 4 Chutes and Ladders funds. In other words, you know, playing on the title of the children's game. And on the same page as 3 in the search return, there is a fund to help offset medical costs and living expenses for a mother who had to stay home to care for a then 2-year-old who broke his leg. And she was due to give birth in a few weeks at that time. That was 42 months ago. And this is the fundraising result from that page. They raised in 42 months $870 out of a $3,000 goal. And it was raised by 10 people in 42 months. All the sources, usually we have the source section down here under this gray separator, but all the sources are embedded in the titles of the campaigns as clickable hyperlinks. So if we go to Ashley C. Kolfage, campaign not found. So apparently she woke up. Now, turning to something much more serious, and something I have been wanting to bring up for you for a while, a couple of weeks now, from the Federalist. This is Jordan Peterson. After one more Patreon ban, Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin are starting their own. The atheist intellectual Sam Harris is one of Patreon's top earners. He, Dave Rubin, and Jordan Peterson have abandoned the platform over its capricious ban of another user. This is a story that's been going on for quite some time. Intellectual dark web leaders Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin have announced they are forming an alternative to Patreon, citing what they view as active censorship from the politically conservative voices on the crowdfunding site. This site has terms of service similar to Twitter's, but has banned prominent members who have not directly violated the terms so much as violated the boundaries of political ideology. Let me read that again. The site has terms of service similar to Twitter's, but has banned prominent members who have not directly violated the terms. Okay, let's move on. Peterson, who recently published a best-selling book, 12 Rules for Life, and Rubin, who features interviews and debates on the Rubin Report, felt compelled to start up a brand new version of this site, speaks to how severely the push to rid online spaces of right-leaning voices has been viewed. Both are high-ranking Patreon personalities. The atheist intellectual Sam Harris is one of Patreon's top-earning users, and he has also abandoned the platform over this incident. Since all three make tens of thousands of dollars a month through the website, this decision is likely to cost them a large portion of their incomes, and that has already happened to another of our favorite creators, and we'll get to that story in a minute. Closing my Patreon. Dear Patreon supporters, as many of you know, the crowdfunding site Patreon has banned several prominent content creators from its platform. While the company insists that each was in violation of its terms of service, these recent expulsions seem more readily explainable by political bias. Although I don't share the politics of the banned members, I consider it no longer tenable to expose any part of my podcast funding to the whims of Patreon's Trust and Safety Committee. I will be deleting my Patreon account tomorrow. If you want to continue sponsoring my work, I encourage you to open a subscription at samharris.org/subscribe. As always, I remain deeply grateful for your support. Wishing you all a very happy new year, Sam Harris. And that was posted on December 16th, 2018. You can see I've been trying to get to this for a couple of days. Here's what happened. Rubin said that they decided to start a new platform because Patreon banned a user this month over the content of a YouTube video that had nothing to do with the platform, meaning Patreon. In the video, he used the N-word and a number of other expletives to voice his frustration with members of the alt-right. In the joint video announcement of their new venture, Rubin and Peterson criticized the platform's decision to boot the user, Carl Benjamin, otherwise known as Sargon of Akkad, without any recourse or semblance of due purpose. Yoram Hazony wrote in response, "Something that's troubled me for years. Why do conservatives and classical liberals who love entrepreneurship in theory consistently fail to establish an alternative educational institutions and media companies where they are sorely needed? Big talk, not much action." And then there's another tweet from him. "That's why it's particularly exciting to see Jordan Peterson and the Rubin Report setting up a company to compete with Patreon." And here's their announcement, and this is the video announcement. It's 10 minutes long. We're not going to play it. However, Rubin said the banning of Sargon of Akkad or Carl Benjamin for doing something that was not on the Patreon platform and wasn't even done on his channel because of a word he said is massive move of that line of what's acceptable. It's not unlike what Roseanne Barr lost her show for. The fact that this guy got booted with no chance of recourse, with no warning, just like that, is just an extension of everything else we have been talking about. Sargon of Akkad is British and he lives in England. And so he was sleeping when the West Coast company, Patreon, made this decision and deleted all of his content and his channel without any notice whatsoever. So there's no redress of grievance. There's no list of grievance. So you can, redress it just overnight. Peterson chimed in and explained further. I've been working on a system for months to allow authors and other people who engage publicly on intellectual issues to interact more effectively with their readers, viewers, and listeners. It occurs to me this week that could serve this function. We are going to try to set this system up on a subscriber model that is analogous to Patreon. It will have a bunch of additional features. I don't want to over-promote because the system is new, but we're going to try and get that rolled out as fast as we can. We have a number of people who are interested in moving their subscription over. This is a very good article, and I, as with everything we cover today, will leave you links in the show notes. Well, the next question is, what does this mean for Halieus Media? Because as most of you know, we have a Patreon account, but we have 0 subscribers on any level. Our first level is a $2 a month subscribership, $24 a year annual payment. Our second subscription tier is $7 a month, and it works out to a little over $80 annually, and the third is $23 a month, and no one has taken us up on that. So we can leave Patreon in support of conservative journalism and have no donation link at all. The second option is to rely on merch sales, and that leaves us a lot less time for production. And honestly, I would have to sell a lot of merchandise because the average markup doesn't matter if it's a bottle opener or a t-shirt, is between 3 and 7%, with one of our t-shirts being a 5% markup. It's the highest, and maybe it's a hoodie. I can't remember if it's a t-shirt or hoodie. I think it's a t-shirt. It's 5% markup, and I make up that 2% by buying in bulk when I get a merchant discount for myself. So that means I would be drop shipping from my own location. The third option is to apply for a YouTube partnership, and I'll tell you I'm not qualified. Halieus Media is not qualified for that right now. I'm going to show you exactly why we're not qualified. So this is our YouTube community page where it tells us we're in good standing. Those little red smileys mean we're in good standing. And we are eligible to monetize, as it shows here. So let's find out what it means to be eligible. By looking at the YouTube Partnership Program, we see that there are a number of qualifiers that they list. But the most important one is what you need to do to meet eligibility requirements. And even though it says I'm eligible in the community page, here are the requirements. 4,000 hours of viewing in 12 months, 1,000 subscribers, and an AdSense account. I've avoided having any outside ads, whether I was monetized or not, on any platform. This leaves me in a moral and financial dilemma. Morally, I feel like I should uphold my standards and remove Halieus Media from Patreon. There are ways to monetize on BitChute and Mumbleit that I have not really investigated, to be honest with you. Now there's a fourth option. I can change the kind of content I do entirely. I can do in-depth, maybe 45-minute programs once or twice a week that dive into an issue, which is what I used to do when I was solely writing on halieusmedia.com. And it would take me usually 2 days to write an article, to do the research and, do a deep dive. I shortcutted that in the video, as you can see, by using other people's already produced content, whether it was a news organization or a written article. So, I would be going to more of a documentary style, maybe twice or 3 times a week. I could change the content by, going towards a DIY type show, a craft or artisan type show. Pyre Media and I could figure out a way to bring more road trips or maybe joint DIY. I don't know. Pyre Media and I had a discussion about this a couple of days ago, investigating what could be done on YouTube, and clearly nothing can be done on YouTube at the rate of growth in subscribers. So YouTube is just not a viable option right now for supporting this broadcast. And I'm going to wait until the 1st to make a decision about Patreon, which is in, 4 or 5 days. So I wanted to be honest with you and upfront and let you know what's going on. I cannot spend any more money on this broadcast in terms of equipment without sponsorship. For the Shepherd and I, we hope you enjoyed your holiday festivities yesterday and this weekend. Please be safe, be blessed until we see you again.